Hello and welcome to Math 141, Section 92, Introduction to Statistics. My name is Matt Lathrop. I'll be your instructor this semester. In this video, I want to take some time to just orient you to the course a little bit and then talk through the syllabus and some of the expectations for the course. What I've got up on your screen right now is the announcements page. This is the initial page you'll see every time you log into our course shell, which will have any current announcements in the course. And then over on the right hand side, you'll see a bar or a box with My Results titled at the top. So these are two sections you'll want to check pretty much every time you log into the course. Take a glance at the announcements to see if any new information has been posted here. And then take a look at the My Results box just to get a quick snapshot of where you stand in the course. So this is going to list your overall score in a couple of different formats, let you know your total points earned across some of the different categories in the class. So every time you log in, you can just get an update on where you're standing to kind of give you either a pat on the back that's saying you're doing a great job, or if it starts to raise some red flags and maybe you need to find some additional help by either coming to meet with me, visiting a tutor, something like that. So you'll see that every time you log in. The Start Here page is the page where you found this video. You're going to want to take some time to make sure you watch and read through the different information on this page just to get an introduction to some of the basic topics about this course. So there's just some orientation videos spread across that page. What I want to focus on more specifically though is the information that you're going to see in the third tab down, which will be the syllabus. So obviously the syllabus sets the expectations for the course, lets you know what to expect throughout the semester. First thing you'll see here is my contact information, including my office hours. I have a phone number and office hours. Stopping by during office hours is great if you want to ask some questions in person. Otherwise, I would suggest the best way to get a hold of me is via email. I'll do my part to check that frequently and typically get back to students within 24 hours during the week. Over the weekend, sometimes that might take a little longer to get back to you, but email tends to be the best way to get a hold of me and get a quick reply. Phone calls absolutely work as well, but again, I would just suggest email as the quicker route. The syllabus has some different information here that you're going to be responsible for: catalog description, relationship to academic development and programs, transferability, learning outcomes. I'm going to leave most of that to you to take a look at, but I'm going to hit a few key points here. The first is about required materials. The only thing that you need to purchase for this course is an access code for MyLabs Plus. So you've already accessed MyLabs Plus, but before you get into your first assignment, you'll either need to purchase an access code or there will be a temporary access code option. That'll be explained once you get into the first couple of assignments. So you'll need that access code. You're going to need access to StatCrunch, but that comes along with that access code. So once you have an access code, you'll also have access to this statistical software we'll use throughout the semester. There's no required calculator for this course, but you're welcome to use a basic scientific or graphing calculator as you see fit. Optionally, you could purchase a physical copy of the textbook, but an electronic copy of the book is included in MyLabs Plus. So again, that course code really includes everything that you'll need for the semester. Looking at the course outline, just briefly here, our first few topics are going to talk about what we call descriptive statistics, and then we'll get into probability. Those topics are really setting the foundations that we need to understand to get into the real meat of this course, which will be inferential statistics. So confidence intervals, hypothesis testing, those will really be the bulk of the concepts we cover this semester. But we'll get into that later just to give you a brief glimpse into what we'll be doing. This is going to be a very technology intensive course. Obviously taking it as an online course means that's going to be the case. You're going to be accessing everything via the web. Assignments will be completed through MLP. We'll be making use of StatCrunch, that computer software. So a lot is going to be dependent on you having access to a computer with an internet connection. You'll want to make sure though that you have a backup plan in case something goes wrong. So if the site is down, if your personal computer crashes or your home internet connection doesn't work, you need to have a backup plan for those instances. Um, Heartland's library has a computer lab you're welcome to make use of. Maybe it's running to McDonald's if all else fails and making use of their free Wi-Fi. But you need to have some sort of contingency for if you're unable to access things. Temporary outages in MLP may not be accommodated. If there's just a few hours, some window of time where it's down. If there is a major crash with the site, we'll deal with that when it comes up. But issues with your personal computer, personal internet connections, most likely will not be considered acceptable excuses for late submissions. So make sure you've got some backup plan in place. Your attendance in this class, though since it's an online class, won't really be physical attendance, is still very important. That's going to take the form of participating in weekly discussions. These weekly discussions are going to get you engaged in the material a little more deeply, and in particular, give you some preparation for the take-home exams, which we'll talk about in just a bit. So you're going to want to make sure you're completing those discussions each week, which will require either 1 or 2 posts, sometimes interacting with your classmates. If you aren't participating actively in this course, it is a possibility that you could be withdrawn at midterm. That could happen if you fail to access this course for 2 weeks without notifying me. If you miss more than 2 of our weekly discussions, 2 of those module discussions, or if by midterm you haven't completed at least 60% of assignments. Hopefully that's not going to be the case. I would like to keep everybody in until the end of the semester, but you do need to be aware that the college has those policies in place. Homework and quizzes will be completed through MyLabs Plus. Every homework assignment is going to offer you an unlimited number of attempts to complete that assignment. If you don't complete an assignment by the due date, you'll still have the opportunity to submit late, but for a 10% penalty. So what this means is by the end of the semester, there's no reason to not have at least a 90% on every assignment. If you're putting in time, hopefully during the week assignments are due, but even if you fall a little bit behind, getting caught up. So hopefully you'll have an A on all of those homework assignments come the end of the semester. Quizzes will work a little bit differently. Initially, you'll only have 1 attempt at a quiz, but if you earn a 95% or better on all the homework assignments for that module, you'll unlock a second attempt. So it's a little more incentive to take that homework seriously, get those completed, to not only boost your homework score in the course, but also give you the chance to improve a quiz score if there were some concepts you didn't quite have down the first time or maybe made some mistakes on that first attempt. As I mentioned before, we're going to have 2 types of exams in this course. One will be a proctored exam. That'll be a very traditional test. Questions will be similar to what you've seen on the homework and quiz questions. You'll need to come to one of Heartland's campuses in order to take that and take that in a proctored environment. There will be a practice test available, so you'll be able to do some preparation, be aware of the types of questions that may pop up on that test. Second part of the test will be a take-home essay-based test. The lecture videos throughout the course will give you some preparation for what I'm looking for these types of responses, and our discussion posts as well will model the types of submissions I expect to see with these essay-based responses. So we'll get into that more a little bit later on, but to be aware, you'll have one portion you need to come to campus, the other portion which will be take-home. For both quizzes and exams, they need to be completed by the due date, or you'll receive a 0 for those assignments. The final exam will only have one portion, a proctored portion, so it'll be similar to what you've seen on homework questions, quiz questions. It will be a cumulative final, and you are required to take the exam in order to receive a passing grade in the course. So regardless of your score at the end of the semester, you'll have to take this test to demonstrate that you've mastered the content throughout the semester. You will have 2 options to improve a low exam score throughout the semester. The first will be an optional take-home exam. So there will be an optional 5th take-home exam. This will replace your lowest take-home exam score if you choose to attempt that. You can also replace one of your proctored exam scores with your percentage on the final exam. So we can see down here the final exam is going to make up 20% of your overall grade, but what I'll do is replace a lowest regular exam score with that same percentage from the final if that benefits you. So the rest of the grading structure is also mapped out here. You're going to see that 30% of your overall course grade is going to come from discussions, homework, and quizzes. Making those weekly assignments very important, not only for making sure you're learning the material as we progress through the course, but any one of these categories on their own can easily make the difference at the end of the semester between two letter grades. That 10% difference, 10% score in your discussions can easily make the difference between an A and a B, or a B and a C. We also have some tentative release dates for the exams. Those are subject to change, but for the most part should remain fairly constant. For the FERPA statement, this is just something for you to be aware of. I can only discuss your progress in this course with you. So if you need to contact me via email, make sure that comes from your Heartland email account, or that you contact me through the course website. And then there's a schedule for the fall semester, which is going to show week by week the topics we'll be covering. This is subject to change, but again, being an online course, we should be able to stick pretty closely to this. What you will see is, for the most part, a pattern of covering 2 modules and then an exam. That pattern will mostly repeat itself until we get up to exam 4. We'll have a little bit more content in between the 3rd and 4th exams. But for the most part, 2 weeks of content and then an exam covering that material. There's also some general information for you to be aware of. I'd recommend taking a look at this. Information on testing services, which you'll definitely need to make use of in this course. Information on the library, disability support services. I'll just mention here, if you do have a documented accommodation, just make sure you contact me about that prior to your first exam so that we can get those accommodations put in place for you. But also information about academic advising, there's information about tutoring. So be sure to read through all the content and the syllabus. Once you've done that, then you can go ahead and dive into the content for Module 1 and start working on the assignments for this class. If you have questions at any point, absolutely feel free to contact me, and I look forward to working with you throughout the semester.